Today is September 12th, and I just finished my next book. It is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This cover is so cool, I think. It looks great. I don't love this as much, but I love the artwork, and I love this color, this like lime green, acid green kind of color. So I just finished it today, and it's funny because I literally last week, the day I finished Persepolis, I literally put Persepolis down and I had some downtime. So I picked this up like straight away, and I don't know if other people feel like this, but it's really hard, I think, sometimes to move from one book to the next because you're kind of in this world. You know, I was in this world of like Iranian Revolution, and then I like stepped into like current day teen, not really teen angst, but I just like wasn't, the first chapter I read it and I was just like, oh, I just don't want to read this. But it was almost instantly, I was like hooked. This book is really, well, it's told from 3 different perspectives. Alex is kind of, I think she's kind of our main focus, and her sister, her older sister, a few years ago was murdered, and it wasn't mysterious. Yeah, it says when her older sister Anna was murdered 3 years ago and the killer walked free, Alex kind of turns herself into vengeance a little bit. They live in a small town, and the other 2 perspectives are Jack, like a popular, cool kid, and then PK, who is just like PK for pastor's kid. And she's kind of like a goody two-shoes, but like not really a goody two-shoes. And what I liked the most is that it was so like the language was way more graphic than I expected, and so it kind of caught me off guard. There's one phrase that like sticks with me, but I don't want to say it on the internet. But it was just like, oh, like I read it and then, but I knew exactly what she was talking about. It's from PK's perspective, in terms of her and her relationship and things she should and shouldn't know as the pastor's kid. The one thing I will say is that there's a bit of Alex and PK work at an animal shelter. So they do talk a bit about animal abuse, and it's not too graphic, but if that kind of stuff bothers you, because it does bother me, but I didn't feel like it was hard to read or anything. They definitely address rape culture, so that's something, again, that's a little bit of a trigger warning. They talk a lot about drinking, a lot about sex, but I kind of think that maybe that makes it a bit more realistic, especially for, I mean, not even for certain kids. Like, I think it makes it more realistic for lots of kids. But yeah, definitely trigger warning for a little bit of animal abuse and factory farming. They discussed that just in one little section. I think that was the section that bothered me the most. And then rape. It felt really unique, like the way the story is told and everything. And then the ending started to kind of feel like very YA, very young adult, very like, okay, I know exactly where this is going. And then you just don't. You didn't know where it was going. So I really, really appreciated that. My favorite quote is on page 202, and it says, "But boys will be boys, our favorite phrase that excuses so many things, while the only thing we have for the opposite gender is women," said with disdain and punctuated with an eye roll. I appreciated that it addressed rape culture in a very normal way, and not in a way of like, this book is about rape culture and we're going to address it. It felt very real, and I think people will relate to it, and I would highly recommend it. I loved it. I couldn't put it down. That's all I have to say.